Be okay, big dreams of Hollywood, skylines and private planes, bright lights and brighter days. And one day I'd be okay. Oh yeah, dreams of Hollywood. I turn my Rex to riches, go Jordan on these Pippins. My outfit make a statement that you can't put in a sentence. Nike checks, I do it. Rock hot tops like a hooper. Ahead of my time, I take you back into the future. Fuck, waiting on the new year. This the new me, I'ma do your suit and time ain't never suit you, but keep.
What is up, WTP fam? It's your boy back with another one. And today, this man doesn't need any introduction really because he's been on here many times. He's the one that got a lot of this started for us with NTW and everything. You know him as the man TexMex. But since you know him, I'll still let him take it away and reintroduce himself, as they would say.
Hey, how's it going, George? You know me, like I say all the time, I'm North Texas Wrestling's favorite cowboy. We're out here today doing your podcast one more. What is this now? The third time that I'm on your podcast? Third or fourth time?
Yeah, the third official time about
Yeah.
on there, but we've had conversations on TikTok and everything just out of nowhere. I think the last one was you were getting the tattoo of a psycho clown. Yeah, there it is, right there. If y'all don't know the story, that's his favorite wrestler. He actually got to see him in action at the first WWE AAA, partnership or new ownership, I guess. What was it? Triple Mania or Worlds Collide? Which one?
Worlds collide in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. So you actually got to go there and in
Yeah.
person and see all that. If you look carefully, you'll see that mask, I believe, in the crowd.
Yeah.
You actually shook hands with him, right?
Watch the first Worlds collide. You will see me on there. I think it's like 4 or 5 times. Nah, it's a couple more, but I'm on there quite a bit because I was front row in the walkway. So I come out during most of the entrances.
Yeah, that was pretty cool because
Yeah,
you pointed out to me like, "Hey, if you look carefully, you'll see me a few times." And I started paying attention a little bit more, and I saw the guy like 3, 4 times. But I know he was living when he got to shake hands or something, fist bump with Psycho Clown a little bit there.
I got to shake hands with Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, Psycho. Who else? Iguana shook my hand after. Ray Phoenix, said hi to me after the show. Um, who else?
Well, the man's
Oh,
being modest. He was actually in the crowd with someone that a lot of wrestling fans are familiar with, a fellow podcaster and reaction person. Who was it again?
Salcedo was sitting right next to me. So that was pretty cool. She's a great person, super sweet, very nice. Um, I just I bought my ticket by myself after the fact. I had already bought a first one, and then I bought this ticket because they were pretty cheap for front row. And then, like right before the show started, she came in and sat next to me, and we just kind of like started conversating a little bit. And next thing you know, at first I didn't recognize her because I don't watch a lot of her stuff, but her voice sounded familiar. And then somebody was like, "You're Denise Salcedo," and I was like, and then that's when it clicked. I was like, "Oh, it's not." Yeah, so I took a picture with her. We had some good conversation. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean that was a special treat out of nowhere. I mean, getting to meet another known podcaster out there. I'm a little guy compared to her, but yeah, that must have been fun, man. The whole experience must have been exciting to see WWE's AAA transitioning into that aspect and
Getting to
getting
be there.
more. Yeah, I guess it was just a history making moment. AAA is
Yeah,
finally getting the notoriety it deserves after all these years. If you're Hispanic, you woke up on a Sunday morning, maybe a Saturday morning, and there was AAA on your TV. My dad used to be really into AAA, and then when he found out WWE owns him now, he's like, "Whoa, hold up, what?" And shockingly, he's actually a fan of Dirty Dom. And you probably guess why Rhea Ripley. Oh man.
Yeah, no, but
Uh,
it was a great show that I enjoyed it all the way through. I wanted to go to the second one that they had in Las Vegas, but basically everything like doubled in price. So I was like, all right, let me not get too
that
crazy.
that TKO effect. It's happening all over now. Like even the tickets for Raw here in October is like, okay, hold up, man.
Actually, cheaper to go to Raw. So we'll let the fans know this. It's cheaper to go to Raw in Oklahoma City. Like if you live in Dallas, it's cheaper to go to Raw in Oklahoma City and pay for a hotel that night than to go to Raw in Dallas.
It really
So
is because I guess they consider Dallas a bigger city than Oklahoma.
I'm going to Raw at Oklahoma City instead of Dallas.
That must be a little bit of a blow, but it is what it is, right? We just gotta adapt and move on. But let's get into what we're here for, right? Let's get into it. Um, Last time I saw you in person, face to face, was at in NTW's Game Changer.
Yeah,
Game Changer 2 to be exact, right?
yeah, it was my debut as a commentator.
It was his debut as a commentator. If you know, you know. If you saw that live broadcast, you know what we're talking about. You can rewatch the entire episode on NTW's official YouTube page. It's up there right now. You can catch me and TexMex on the commentary. Unfortunately, he won't be at the commentary table this time. We have another person joining us. It's Brady Brown's son who will be joining me at commentary this time.
That's news to me. I didn't know that one, but yeah,
Yeah,
fans.
it was officially announced yesterday that I will have him on there. He is a young man. I've heard he's really great at commentary, play by play. So we'll see how it goes. I told him I'll try to keep it PG-13.
And not only is it unfortunate for the fans, it's also unfortunate for Deshaun and the Oro gang. But we'll talk about that here in a bit.
Oh yeah. But yeah, the last time we saw you commentary, but you also had a dark match before the show against Matthew DeLuna, which
Yeah,
was a pretty good match, if I may add.
yeah. We had one goal, and that was to get the people going. Rile them up, and I think it worked out pretty well. Matthew DeLuna is someone that I'm uh, very honored to have shared the ring with. I respect him a lot. He's a great guy. Multi-time world champion already, so very well deserved. Multi-time tag team title holder, so again, very well deserved, and it was an
Uh,
honor to share the ring with him for the first time.
oh yeah, Matt is making, he's planting waves or whatever all through wrestling right now. He's like you said, multiple time tag team champion, a former world champion. He's held other titles and other promotions. Can't wait to see him back in NTW, hopefully soon. But leading into that match, it was on the fly because I was standing right there and like, hey, Max, Tex, you're in there with Matt, and I'm like, oh, I guess we're gonna have to hold off on the commentary until you get back. And I remember because we had to do your mic check like right there on the fly, like a few minutes right before the show actually went on air.
Yeah,
Uh,
but hey, it's part of the business. I was there for commentary. They needed me to once again throw NTW on my back and get things going, and I did. And I proved why I've been there since day one.
yeah, and it was a good match. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a good match. It was hard for me to decide who to go for because obviously I'm cool with both you guys, and I just wanted to see a good match in the end, and y'all did exactly that. Y'all gave us a good match, and everyone came out safe.
Yeah, you and I were your original WTP podcast guys. We were
Yeah,
the first two on here.
yeah, were. And so during Game Changer, obviously it was announced towards the end of the night after a crazy night of cage matches and a lot of crazy moments, and me and Tex Mex getting crazy wild when they were doing a lot of crazy stunts. But it was announced Team Toyman versus Team Oro, Team Deshaun, if you want to put it that way. And one of the competitors in that match is none other than you. How did you feel when Toyman announced the 5-on-5?
When at Game Changer, when it was first announced, um, I think I was a little skeptic of whether I would end up on the team or not. Um, let's be honest, no one deserves to be on this team more than I do. I've been here since day one. I have fought for NTW, you know, blood, sweat, and tears. So no one deserves to be on it more than I. But with that being said, the communication and the connection between Chris Hill and myself isn't, very big. We mostly just talk about NTW stuff and that's it. So I wasn't sure if he was going to add me to the team or not. When we finally did have the conversation for me to join the team, I was very ecstatic, and it wasn't because I get to be on the show. It wasn't because I get to be in the main event. It's because I get to put hands on people that deserve to get their hands put on. So I get to put hands on Jaden. I get to put hands on the other Terror Twin. I get to put hands on all these people that have been attacking me, that have been costing me championships, have been costing me matches, and now I get my retribution. I get to take them out one by one, and who knows, if the good Lord grants me permission, I get to put hands on Deshaun.
I know you're looking forward to that because, like you just said, since the first game changer I went to, because that was the first show I went to that you invited me to, all the way to now, they have been attacking you. They have been beating you down every chance they get. It's happened in the ring, outside of the ring. I believe my last guest, APR, was part of those attacks, but that was more of a hired help than a personal issue. Um, and then, of course, they've attacked you inside of my cricket store, which it's out. The video's out there if y'all want to go look that up. I think it was the Terror Twins that attacked you inside of the cricket store, and I know last show you're really speaking your mind on all those guys, and now you get to go into this 5-on-5 with guys I don't think you've ever tag teamed with before.
Yeah, no,
So how does that play into this match that you guys have never teamed up before and going against guys that have?
it's a little bit of trying to find dynamic on the fly, right? But I think as long as we all share a common goal, that's gonna be very important. My big worry is, you know, Jace Alexander. He's part of RTV. He's part of Respect the Business. And I know that's a situation of kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Hmm.
So I feel like I can trust him, and I've also, we haven't tagged together before, but we have power bond somebody through a table before, so that was fun. Um, and then you have like Haas. Haas is a great, outstanding man. He lives by absolute cowboy values. I feel like I can trust him. You know, um, you have
Got the
what's his name,
cowboy.
Mike Borman. Yeah, so you have two more Cowboys on there besides myself. And just on the very fact that we like to live on Cowboy values, I feel like I can trust those two. So being able to trust three out of four of my partners, and again the fourth one is not that I can't trust them. It's just I haven't worked with him. But as long as we have the same core goal, which is to get rid of, and get rid of, you know, um, get rid of Deshaun, get rid of his goons, get rid of, whatever you want to call them. I feel like we're gonna do pretty good.
Now, how important is this win for you guys? Because there's a lot at stake here. One of them being if Toyman's team loses, then of course he loses his reign as GM. And I know you want to win because you know what's on the line for Deshaun. It originally was his power as owner. Obviously, the board said no, you can't do that. So they came up with something else. If Toyman's team wins and beats Team Oro, then Deshaun becomes the personal assistant of the Toyman. And I know you're gonna enjoy that.
Oh
Seeing
yeah,
Deshaun get the coffee.
feel that man. Honestly, make him come be my assistant for a day too. I think that should be the punishment. He needs to be everybody's assistant for one day at least. But I think more importantly, just being able to finally shut up Oro Gang. This has been going on a 2 year ordeal, like I said. Um, it started. It really all started when Red Chambers and I faced for the first time. I was doing my United States title open challenges, and he answered it, and he lost, plain and simple. Then the next show, I faced Kane Carter for the U.S. title, and Red decides to stick his nose where it didn't belong, or at least at the time I didn't think it would belong. I would have never guessed that was the beginning of the Oro Gang. That was the birth of the Oro Gang. But he helped Kane beat me for my title, and then I go on a 3 or 4 month streak of having to worry about one combination of either Red, Big J, or Mikey B. Having to deal with all three of those for a couple of weeks, and then we make it to Game Changer, the first one that you were at, and when I think that I'm finally gonna beat them and get rid of them is when we see the actual introduction of Oro Gang, right?
Yeah.
And it's been a crazy ride, but like I said, I've been there from the beginning of Oro Gang. I've been there from the beginning of NTW, and I plan on being there for the end of Oro Gang this Saturday.
Oh man, I know you're pretty much tired of all the beat downs too. I'm sure you're tired of them interfering in your matches and all that. Like, but if you do guys pull out that win, is it truly the end of Oral Gang, or is it just more of a they'll go away for a while and possibly come back?
I think whether we're able to finish them off or wherever or we're able to just send them away for a while. If we win on Saturday, it proves that we're strong enough as a company to take care of them any other time they come back. And I think that should put fear in their hearts when they realize that TexMex is strong enough, NTW is strong enough, and if I have to find a different group of five next time around, if I have to find a group of six, a group of seven, a group of eight, I know that I will, and that we will always take care of Oregon. But at the end of the day, I know that I will be there to be a thorn in their shoe every single time.
And I will be there to commentate on that. I mean, Tex-Mex said he'll train me, but I don't know, man. I'm just kidding. My back's hurting just from sleeping. But we'll see what happens there in the future. Um, so we got the 3 year anniversary show coming up, and obviously you're ready to put all this behind you with Oral Gang and look to the future. What's next for Tex-Mex after this 5-on-5 match? What's your plans and goals within NTW or professional wrestling as a whole moving forward?
Man, I think within NTW, um, someone who just loves to talk and we can't get him to shut up is Jaden, man. Jaden loves to talk on everybody about anything. So after the 5-on-5, he does have a little bit of extra weight to himself right now that I believe would go great would go great on my shoulder. And
Oh,
that's that
okay.
social media championship.
Okay,
And
okay.
if not, I don't know if you guys remember, but at Game Changer before we went live, Drew Gaffney decided that he wanted to challenge me. And he wanted to challenge
Oh,
me mask versus hair. But now he has a title that I would very much enjoy to have on my shoulder. So if he still wants to issue a challenge, I return that challenge with a challenge for that title. But there's many titles for me to grab. There's many titles for me to take, and we'll see how things go. Maybe I find myself a tag team partner, and I take the Terror Twins tag team titles over from Texarkana. So
Hmm.
the point is, at the end of the day, there's many things that I haven't done. There's many things that I wanted to keep doing. So we will keep fighting every single day for them.
Okay, okay. So since Game Changer, since everything, you've been pretty busy on social media. I see you got your dance competitions, your teacher in dance. You've I don't know if you've been in any tournaments lately and won. I know I saw a video or something or a rant the other day on something which we won't get into if you don't want to, but you've been busy with the dancing. How's everything going there?
Yeah, no, it's been great. That's there's two things that make up Tex-Mex, and that's wrestling and dancing. Dancing keeps me on my feet. It's a pretty good cardio, but it's been going great. I'm stepping more into a role of like putting on stuff. I've kind of decided to start stepping away from the competition aspect of it. I honestly think that this will be my last year competing, and then from then on, I'm putting on competitions. I'm actually working with a nightclub here in Dallas called Kalua, and I'm doing stuff with them every Thursday. So if any wrestling fans want to come out on Thursdays, we do dollar drinks, we do free cover till 10. So it's a lot of fun, working on that. And then on top of that, I'm learning how to DJ. So I'll start doing
Hmm.
DJ stuff here pretty soon, and who knows? Maybe before one of the shows, I'll bring out the DJ system and start mixing some stuff there. So
Oh
just a
man.
couple, staying
D-
busy more than anything, right?
so everybody heard it here first. DJ Tex-Mex on TikTok soon.
Dang, yeah, that'll be me here in a couple weeks. Let me just get the hang of it.
He's gonna start getting those old vinyls. Rick, Rick, Rick. But yeah, you also mentioned you were possibly thinking about owning a bar. I mean, how's that going so far?
Yeah. So essentially, what's going on with Kahlua right now is, it's just a partnership for now, but it's letting me figure out how to properly run that in the business, right? Like I'm getting to learn on the fly, and it's going to help me, finally decide, hey, do I really want to pull the plug and start and open up my own place, or do I maybe just want to buy into Kahlua, figure something out like that out.
Okay, okay. Like I said, guys, he's a busy guy. He has a lot of ventures he's getting into. um, and yeah, just check him out. Check out all his social medias. You'll be able to see a lot of great stuff he's doing. My myself more into the wrestling aspect, but I do check out his dancing videos every now and then because I'm like, he's making the big guys proud by doing the dances. And I want to talk about something that happened to you not too long ago, if that's okay. I think
Yeah,
you know where I'm going with it. Not that long ago, I believe it was in Denton, Texas,
it was in Flower Mound.
Flower Mound, Texas. It was unfortunate that you got pulled over, and from what it looked like on social media, you were facing deportation because they arrested you.
Yeah. So what happened was my brother got pulled over first. He was coming home from the gym. He got pulled over for an expired registration, and unfortunately, he had a warrant for the city of the colony. Uh, he just had he happened to have like three tickets with them. Two of them were on a payment plan. The third one was going to go over their limit. So as long as he kept paying the first two, they weren't going to, go look for him on the third one. But Flower Mound didn't know that, so they arrested him. And by the time we made it out to where he was to the Flower Mound jail, they had already turned him into immigration. So now I'm trying to figure out how to get the car back. So I'm on my way to go pick the car up from the impound, and then I get pulled over, and I get arrested. And I guess they just saw that it was like the same, pretty much the exact same name, Quintana Martinez, and we have the same middle initial and everything. So they were like, "Hey, call ICE. Like, we got another one. We got his brother too. Like, we'll send him too." So they were on it. They were trying to call it everything. They were trying to get me deported. But by the end of the night or early next morning, they had already figured out that I have a work permit. I'm legal to be here, so they couldn't deport me. Unfortunately, my brother is still in the deportation system. He was supposed to have court yesterday, and then he got transferred. So now he's at a detention center 5 hours away from me. I can't even go visit him if I want to, which sucks. But now he has another court date for next Tuesday, the 23rd, and we're hoping that he can actually go in there. And his lawyer is very hopeful that not only can they help him not get deported, but help him become legal in the country because my brother got here when he was 2 years old. All he's ever known is America. His first language is English. Um, he's never had a criminal record. He's never had any issues except for these last couple of tickets, and no one deserves to lose their livelihood over a ticket. So we're hoping for the best.
You know, a lot of people on social media joke about these things and mock it pretty much. Like, let's be real, they mock it. They hope this happens to certain people. Um, but this is the reality for a lot of Hispanics out there. Like, let's be real, like it's the reality. And you going through this, I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, crap. I knew that you were working on your stuff the last time we had talked. I know you had just obtained your work visa or renewed it, not obtained it, but you renewed it successfully. And I was like, why would they do that? Like, what's going on? What happened? And obviously you got out and we chit chatted on messaging for a little bit. And I was glad to hear you're okay. Then I heard about your brother, and I'm like, well, that's just plain out wrong. And like you said, no one deserves that kind of treatment, right? No one deserves for this to happen to them over some tickets. And you know, I was pretty upset when I heard about it, pretty angry because I have a dad who's here legally. Of course, he got his green card. People joke, but it's actually green. But obviously, I have other relatives that don't have that privilege of having that documentation, so they kind of are in the same situation as your brother. That if they get pulled over, this could possibly happen to them. And you know, I mean, hopefully everything works out for your brother. Praying for him, obviously. Hopefully everything works out for you and your family because this is a pretty messed up situation over some tickets. And it's just thank you for sharing that story because a lot of people need to be aware that this happens to people that truly don't deserve it. Like
Definitely a tough situation. Like I said, I was supposed to go visit him today when they had him at the original facility, because the original facility he was at is right on the outside of Fort Worth in Alvarado, Texas.
yeah,
So we had a visitation for today. I was very excited because I was going to get to see him for the first time since all this happened, and now he's transferred out. Now he's 5.5 hours away, so it's not the easiest thing. I'm trying to see if I can put in a visitation for Monday, and then if I can put in a visitation for Monday, I would drive out to San Antonio Sunday night, spend the night there, and then go to the actual visitation Monday. So that's the plan. That's the goal. Hoping that we can make it happen.
so question, is there any real reason why they decided to transfer him the last minute?
So essentially, because they're committing so many arrests, and they're putting so many people in these detention centers, some of them are getting overpacked. It just so happened to be that his was overpacked, so they had to transfer some people out, and he got unlucky, and they called his name, right? So it wasn't like they were trying to screw him over, and or at least I hope that it wasn't. They were trying to screw him over and make him miss his court date so that he's in there longer. Because their whole goal is to get you out of the country as soon as possible, right? And that also means that you do still have to go through court. So whether so I don't think it was to screw him out of going to court. I just think it was because of the fact that there was too many people in there, so they had to get somebody out.
So you mentioned his lawyer before, like the new lawyer you said. Can you shed some light as to why you and your family decided to switch from one lawyer to the other, so that people can be aware to stay away from lawyers like you had to deal with the first time?
Yeah, I'll even mention them by name just to help out even more. So we originally hired a team of lawyers called it's La Liga Defensora, the defensive league. They promote on radio stations all the time, and they talk a big game about how they can help you. Um, my brother got arrested Monday night. By Tuesday morning, we had already called them, and they were like, "Hey, like, yeah, we can definitely work with it and blah blah blah." And they said it would be $2,000 to work on the criminal aspect of the case first, which is getting rid of the tickets and all that. So to help his case. Well, on this, I will not blame them on this. Immigration moved really fast, so before they were able even to touch my brother's criminal case with the tickets, immigration had already moved my brother into the immigration aspect of it, and they had already transferred him to the immigration detention center. So we went back to them and we're like, "Hey, this already happened. Like they already moved them. Like what's gonna happen now?" So what they said was they were going to go ahead and move on to the immigration case, and that was going to be a total of $4,000. So they just let us transfer the original $2,000 to the immigration case, and then we paid an extra $2,000. Well, it took almost an entire week. Never heard back from them. Never got any type of information. And in the meantime, a family friend had put us on to a nonprofit called Dallas Area Interfaith, and they work with a couple of lawyers to work on these immigration cases pro bono. So we reached out to them. We just gave them some basic information, and before we can even tell them to take over the case, they had already contacted my brother. They had already told him what he had to say. They had already put some money on my brother's books. Like they were helping out a lot. So we went back to the original lawyer and we were like, "Hey, you guys haven't done anything. You guys, we have to give you information instead of you giving us information." So we basically demanded our money back. And at first they said they weren't going to do it, but then our new lawyer with Dallas Area Interfaith, they wrote up a petition for them to refund us. So now we're in the process of getting that refund, which we then will be able to use to put into his court fees for now. Because like I said, the Dallas Area Interfaith lawyers, they aren't working 100% pro bono. It's not 100% free, but it is a lot cheaper than the original, and they're doing a lot more work.
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, they already got more information. You said they contacted him and helping him out in any kind of way they can. And as I know that you posted last week that we could help your brother in some kind of way. Is that still the case here, or is there still ways to help him out?
Yeah, I mean, even though it is going to be cheaper now, the court fees and everything are still very expensive. So if anybody wants to donate to that, we don't have a GoFundMe because it's GoFundMe takes money and stuff like that from every donation. But we do have, if anybody wants to send money directly, we have my phone number, my dad's phone number that you can send money to. Um, and then above that, man, just constant prayer. That's really what we ask for: constant prayer. Um, it's a tough situation to be in. I don't wish it on anybody. You know, on anybody that doesn't deserve it. I'm a big believer that you know people that have violent crimes, people that 100% don't belong to be here, should not be here. Um, but people that are here, to like we like to say, put their nose to the grind and work hard and make not only their life but the life of the people around them better. Those people deserve to have a fighting chance to really to really get to be here and really get to enjoy what this country has to offer. Um, I love everything about this country. You know, it's all I've ever known. Like I said, I got here when I was 4 years old. Right. I I fly my flag with pride, and I can't wait for the day that I can actually call myself a citizen. However that day comes, I wish it I wish it very hard. And I can't wait for it to happen. But in the meantime, I have to keep fighting for my brother.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, with all that going on, I mean, you're staying pretty positive, man. I really respect that. Put on a pretty strong face for you and your family. It's not
Thanks.
easy to do.
For
Oh, the mask, it helps out a lot. Yeah, it covers like all this. I think I heard some tears earlier, but it's all good, man. I mean, hopefully everything works out for you and the family. Hopefully your brother's home soon and out of all this craziness. But before we end it, man, is there anything you want to add? Anything you want to say to the NTW fans and WTP fam?
man, NTW fans, Wrestling Today podcast family. This Saturday is really important for a couple reasons, man. It's important because it's another anniversary show. Uh, when people doubted NTW, we kept fighting, we kept growing. When we had a show with over 200 people, and then the next show we had 20 people in the crowd, we took the punch in the gut and we kept going, and here we are celebrating a third year. It's also important because there's a lot of the line. There's power, there's control, but overall there's the satisfaction of getting your hand raised. Um, I very much plan on being the sole survivor if I have to be. If, like I said before, if it whether it's 5-on-5, 5-on-4, 5-on-3, 5-on-2, or it's 5-on-1, if I'm that one, Oro Gang has a lot of trouble. So I plan on being there. I plan on putting 110% effort. Um, I'm pulling out moves that you guys haven't ever seen me do. So I'm going to put on a show. I very much plan on stealing the show this Saturday and proving why TexMex is NTW. Why, every company has had their heart and soul. NXT had Finn Balor, then they had Johnny Gargano, they had Sami Zayn. AJ Styles had SmackDown. He was SmackDown was the house that AJ Styles built. You have Monday Night Rollins, right? Those people are all the heart and soul of their brands. Um, Tex-Mex is the heart and soul of NTW, right? Um, Tex-Mex is Texas, North Texas. It's in the name. North Tex-Mex Wrestling is what it's going to be known as. And after Saturday, I'm going to prove why.
No doubt, man. I can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see you there. Hopefully, we have a victory interview after the show and with you and the rest of your team. Can't wait to see that. And of course, as always, guys, as more comes out, I'll be sure to let you know. Till then, stay blessed. Peace.
Guys,